Hey everybody, What's It Fox Gaming here. So I'm going to continue on my named items series videos. This one is going to be a review of the Railsplitter, which is the named CTAR that has perfectly accurate 50% accuracy. I've had a few people across a few of my AR build videos talk about the CTAR, how they love it, how it's just a really nice feeling AR, and I've tested this in about 2 or 3 games now, and I'll be honest boys and girls, you are spot on the money. It's a great feeling weapon, and in my opinion, in the current meta, you can get away with taking a lower damage weapon if it's more accurate, reliable. You don't have to have that raw DPS if your weapon's just going to land more shots, because it kind of makes up for it. So the CTAR is a 900 RPM AR. Now this particular one is hitting at 84.6k per bullet, just based on my current build. The FAMAS is the top daddy. This is one of the highest DPS weapons in the game, and certainly the highest AR, and you'll see this is 91.2k at that 900 RPM. I know this has got 13 and this has got 15%, but that only changes a couple of k here and there, so, or even less than that technically. So yeah, definitely the FAMAS hits harder, but the stats are lower. The accuracy and stability are lower than the base CTAR. The reload time is 0.1 second higher, and the range is lower as well. So the FAMAS is more of a short range weapon. So perfectly accurate. What does 50% accuracy actually do, and how is it different to stability? So this is a question that I've had a few people ask, and I've done a lot of testing in previous videos, and I have explained this in my handling video. So if you haven't seen that, I'll very quickly give you a demonstration of what it is now. I'll quickly show you my build, even though it's the same one as my previous video, the Shield Splinter one, and then we'll load into a conflict game and I'll show you how you should be playing this weapon. So accuracy versus stability. Now if you look at the white dot right in the center there, stability dictates how sporadic that kicks out from that center. So the longer you fire, it starts pinging all over the place. Stability also affects how vertical and how high your recoil pattern is. So a low stability weapon will probably sort of do this if you don't kind of control it, or some kick to the right, some kick to the left, and they go quite high up. A very high stability weapon will be a lot more vertical and move a lot more slowly upwards, so you have a much shorter kind of spread. What accuracy does, and the only thing actually does, is it dictates how far that central dot in the center of your crosshair is allowed to move from the center. It's got nothing to do with how sporadic the bullet moves in the middle, so you can have a low stability, high accurate weapon, and the spread will be very small, because yes, that little dot is pinging all over the place because of low stability, but accuracy is like an invisible circle. It's actually called a bloom cone, and the higher the accuracy, the smaller that bloom cone. So basically, the smaller amount of room that central dot, and as a result your bullets are allowed to move. Let's demonstrate that now. Now the CTAR is very stable anyway, so it's probably going to have a relatively kind of short pattern and a vertical pattern, but I'm not going to have any directional input here. So you notice that dot in the center was hardly moving from the center at all, and that, yes, admittedly the stability is coming into that, but even if this weapon had really bad stability, this line will be a lot higher and probably more to the right or left, but the actual gap in between the bullets will be kind of the same as it is here, because accuracy is not allowing the bullets to deviate too far from the center. Let's do the same thing with the FAMAS. Start the same place, no control. Watch it spread out more towards the end. Now that's not too bad, because it's not ARs in general don't have that much of a problem. A better test of this is probably an SMG with high stability versus one with low stability, but you can see the lower stability here already because it kicks way more to the right, and the height of this is, well, like 50% more than this. And if you look at kind of how far the bullets are, or certainly how random they are compared to how tight they are here, you can start to see that if somebody is at range and they're moving left and right and you're trying to hit them, and this is kicking off like all the way to the right and so on, versus a weapon that's a lot more stable, you're going to hit more of your shots. And in my opinion, and I've said this with my videos, my pestilence videos, weapon handling in a lot of situations can trump raw DPS. So does the CTAR do less damage than a weapon in the exact same archetype? Yes, absolutely it does. Does that mean it's not usable? No, it is 100% usable and designed to be played at range, because the accuracy keeps the spread of the bullets so tight you can very consistently land headshots, and at close range you can completely laser someone's face off. So that's the main difference there. Stability is very important on a lot of weapons. I think on ARs, accuracy is a bit more important, but if you can get a weapon that has high stats of both, go for them. And that's why the CTAR is so popular, and the Railsplitter, maybe less so because you haven't got a damage talent, but just having that high stability and accuracy can sometimes trump the higher damage of another weapon that has lower handling stats. My build is 2 blues, same as before. I did swap a couple of pieces around, but they're all the same brand sets, and it's still 2 blues and 4 reds. Fenris chest to buff the AR damage with Unbreakable, just in case we get in a close 1v1. vigilance because I'm going to try to play from range and I'm quite squishy, so you know, by being at range I'll be less likely to hit and therefore more likely to retain vigilance to get the extra damage. Grupo Sombra gloves for the critical hit damage, and Seska holster for the critical hit chance just to buff that. Fox's Prayer, because I truly believe this should be in every DPS build, PvP or PvE. It's just too good not to use at the moment with the damage to targets out of cover being multiplicative. And finally, to make up for the extra 10% critical hit chance, I've gone for the Coyotes. So my weapon stats are 51.8% chance, 170 damage, and of course with having Coyotes proc they'll both be buffed by 10%. I don't know if that actually works when you proc it. Let me test it. I don't think it actually changes it. No, it doesn't. Okay. Alright, let's load into a game. Let's test this out. So I'm going to show you, like I say, that this, you know, the FAMAS you need to be close range. Oh, well, that's loaded us straight in. You need to be close range because its weapon handling is very low, and that's when you're really going to burst out and have great success with the FAMAS. The CTAR definitely don't. I mean, yes, it still has that great burst potential because it's a 900 RPM AR, which is one of the best archetypes in the game, certainly in PvP. Yes, you get through a lot of your ammo quickly in PvE with a high rate of fire, but in PvP that burst is insane. And if we're getting all of that burst into such a tiny little bloom cone, we should be able, in theory, just melt somebody's face off a lot easier than we might be able to with the FAMAS whilst at those longer ranges. So yeah, that's kind of why I said at the start, you know, I do like to make these videos to look at underrated named items, usually weapons more than gear pieces, and try and figure out a way to enhance their strengths whilst hopefully reducing their weaknesses. And I kind of feel that this build is doing that. We want to be hard hitting, playing at range, so vigilance is a smart choice there. And because, you know, it's so accurate, we can realistically play at range. I'm going to go for a shield for if I get too close, and the EMP jammer because being a squishy build, status effects can be dangerous to us. This will help break those hives and seekers. A booster hive is also a really good choice here because it buffs the handling and your hazard protection and cleanses all hazard. So a booster hive is actually very top tier at the moment, and you should definitely factor in a lot of your builds. And then we've gone for Gunner because, in my opinion, it's the best specialization in the game. It's just really good for AR builds. You get the extra handling from being in cover. You get the ammo regeneration, which is really good for longer runs in the DZ with high rate of fire weapons. You get the faster reload. You get the armor on kill. You get the faster rate of fire on a kill. So it just kind of works well with ARs. But honestly, this is less about the build and more about the weapon itself. Just try and play at range if you can. And pick whichever specialisation you are most comfortable with. I have not loaded in if we're 7. Oh no, looks like we've lost some people. So just whilst we're waiting to load, and I do want to thank you all again for the continued support of the channel. I'm not even sure, I think we're up to like 2,600 subscribers now, which is phenomenal. Let's have a quick look whilst we're waiting. But yeah, you guys and girls have been fantastic, to be fair. I've had some really great comments, both negative and positive, and I've got no issue with that, by the way. I really want honest feedback. Obviously, keep it constructive. You know, I've had some people use quite aggressive language just because they didn't like a build. That's not appropriate. If you don't like a build, just say, hey, Fox, what are you doing, man? Why don't you just use this talent and try putting this in here? This has worked for me. And I'll be like, do you know what? That's actually a really good shout. And if I test that out and it works better, I'll credit you for it. I'll actually mention your name in video and release an updated version. So constructive feedback is fine for me. Positive feedback as well just lets me know that I'm doing the right job. So thank you again for all of your voices. Yeah, we're at 2,600 subscribers as of the release of this video in 10.1, TU 10.1. So that's amazing. We've hit about 2,200 of that in the last month alone. So honestly, I'm super happy with that. I really appreciate the support. If you do like the content, I predominantly do PvP builds, so I am mostly a build channel. I don't tend to do stuff like vendor resets and patch notes and so on, because you know, there's plenty of that out there, and I find that a little bit dull. Although if you want that content, if enough people say yes, then I'll start doing it. But predominantly, the point of this channel is to show build diversity. I like to try and come up with counter meta builds, so rarely do I run just a pure meta build like Lady Death Intimidate. I'll try and show you that there are ways to counter the meta with different types of builds. I'll try and show you some underrated named items and how to play them, and just sort of give you some extra build ideas for both PvE and PvP. So if you like the sound of that, then just hit that subscribe button. Make sure you turn on notifications. I tend to get a video out 3, sometimes 4 times a week at the moment. Just to keep you guys with some extra content whilst we're all still in lockdown. Well, we are here in the UK anyway. I don't know how it is for a lot of the rest of the world, but What I should have done there is shut the hell up and paid attention to my my opposition's builds, but I didn't. So let's see how this goes. I'm feeling confident though. You know, you all know that I play, or should I say, a lot of you know that I play on Xbox. My aim isn't actually that good on controller, but this kind of weapon I felt has really helped my aim, just because it's just easy to track people with it, and that accuracy really helps. So, you know, if you find you're the same as me, your aim is average, maybe a bit above average, this might be a good weapon to try out. But there's a lot of love out there for the CTAR, and I'm really starting to realise why. It just feels good. You'll probably know my favourite AR is the FAL. It always will be. It's phenomenal, and I like it for the same reasons. It's not the hardest hitting, but it just feels so good to use. Like, really, really good to use. Oh, they'll push through. Hello, buddy. Was that guy right here? That's my teammate. Sorry, teammate. Teammate, look behind you. Somebody behind me as well, but I'm trying to get this kill. Oh, I hate the reduced burn. The reduced sprint speed from burn. From bleed. Jesus Christ. I can't have my words out. I can actually tell which was my teammate there, with the bright white background. And nice. So even with my terrible accuracy there, the bullets just didn't deviate at all from the centre, which is awesome because you just land more of your shots. Be careful, because his teammate's definitely going to be pushing behind him. Did this guy push street, or is he just hiding? Oh, I thought that was a lot closer than it was. Look at that headshot accuracy. Same thing there. So you see that? It's just crazy accurate on the head. Oh, I need to kill that guy so his petty tick disappears. Oof. Is that turret? Survivalist, interesting. Come on, health. Where's my regen? There it is. Assault turret detected. Oh, I was outside of that ring. Surely I was. I just not very high, yeah. Boost now active. It's really good for taking out skills as well, because it's so accurate. Another headshot kill. Another headshot kill. Chunky tick. I should really let these guys go. I'm going to push back and get the boost there. Hopefully the opposition will start to push out. So, you know, you've already seen that my accuracy has been pretty bad in this game, and yet I've still been able to close kills, because once you get locked onto their head, and on console at least the aim assist helps quite a lot there, you kind of stay there, and because all the bullets are so precise. Oh, that was a dirty kill. Yeah, it's good. It's reliable, and you know, in my opinion, a weapon being reliable is as important as its damage. I've got 3 different skills on me right now. Oh! That's a big no from me. Oh, I dodged into the fire. No! Oh, that's my first death, because I dodged into the fire and didn't see that guy behind the digger. So what I'm probably going to be looking to do now is farm for a CTAR that has in sync or possibly optimist. Or even killer, actually. I don't even know yet. I'm going to just try and get a couple and test them out, because yeah, I think, you know, and I've got my audience to thank for that. I hadn't even really considered the CTAR. I tried it a bit in PvE and it was kind of good, but you know, I'm more of a fan of the FAL. the police M4, the Eagle Bearer, the carbine as well. I really like the carbine. So I've never really sort of looked at the 900s because I've just never been a fan of them. And I always knew that the CTAR did less damage to the FAMAS, which in my opinion, I thought, well, why am I going to try that? But then that's just against my mantra of weapon handling matches and sometimes even trumps, just raw weapon damage or low handling. And I'm glad that you guys kind of taught me onto it, so thanks for that. CTAR is a little sleeper hit, a little underrated gem. So let's check the damage stats and we'll end the video there. Thanks again if you did stick through and watch the gameplay and the full video, I do appreciate that. I just want to see if I actually did as well as it felt like there, or if I was really just a letdown to my team. I do feel like I was getting carried a little bit there due to that relatively quick mercy rule. Another thing as well, a lot of my build ideas do come from people asking me to test a certain weapon, and then I'll think of a build that works around that weapon. So if there's anything you want to see tested, just let me know and I'll try and put together a build, and I'll let you know. I'll get it out for you guys. So we finished on 6 kills to 1 death with 2 assists and 19 million damage, which is the highest in my team. So, you know, that just shows that it can perform well. And you all saw how terrible my aim was at the start there. If I with my bad aim on console can hit those kind of stats, then anybody else can for sure. You know, anybody can hit that. So just like I said before, just make sure your build is appropriate to the weapon. And if you do want to ask me any questions on why I make some of the choices that I do and why I think certain things are better, let me know. I'll tell you about everything that I know, you know, all the damage testing that I do and the choices or the explanation behind my choices. Hopefully that'll help you out if you are struggling with some builds. Thank you very much for the continued support of the channel. I know I've already said that, but I do truly mean it. You know, thank you if you did watch the video through to the end, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.